What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another Manchester City match reaction, match analysis and match review as Manchester City beat Wolverhampton Wanderers, an in-form Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League by 1-0 at the Etihad Stadium. So before I do crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video and do let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. So, before we even speak about anything that happened in this game, I think context is really important because Manchester City, we're at a point now with the chasing pack. We obviously, before this game started, were trailing Newcastle, who were sat in 3rd place. We were sat in 4th place. We know 5th place is going to be a Champions League spot. And we want to give ourselves some daylight between Chelsea, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. So when we're going first in each game week, we want to win and put the pressure onto everybody else. What we don't want to do is drop points and then give momentum to other teams who end up picking up points in games where maybe they weren't going to pick up because they're extra motivated about teams around them, like Manchester City, dropping points. And Manchester City, in a difficult game here against an in-form Wolves side, have managed to navigate that really well and pick up the result that they were looking for. Plus 3 points, happy days. We move on to the next game and we can move our focus now to Southampton away from home, the next big cup final, whilst keeping an eye on how Aston Villa get on this weekend, how Chelsea get on this weekend, how Nottingham Forest are going to get on this weekend, how Newcastle get on this weekend. Heck, I've even seen some people leaving thoughts in the chat saying they want to turn their attention towards Arsenal in 2nd place because Manchester City are just 3 points behind Arsenal, with Arsenal having a superior goal difference to Manchester City. But I'm expecting Arsenal to be doing a full rotation of their team ahead of their second leg against PSG in the Champions League. So they've got a game this weekend against AFC Bournemouth. How much rotation is going to be in place? And if Arsenal do end up dropping points in that, how strong of an end to the season can they have? They've still got to go to Anfield and play Liverpool. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that if Man City can win out and win every single game between now and the end of the season, that we could even finish over Arsenal in 2nd place. But we're getting a bit carried away with ourselves. I like that we're ambitious and we're aiming up and up and up, and that's always what we've got to do, but we've also got to remain focused on the first aim, which is securing Champions League football. I still think now that City, with this winner, 2 wins out of these next 3 games away from securing a top 5 finish in Champions League football for next season at the Etihad Stadium, so the focus has now got to be on Southampton away. Already relegated Southampton team who've got very little to play for other than pride. Manchester City, got to be careful because teams are gunning for us. They've got a point to prove. They want to spoil the party. They want to take points off Manchester City. These teams that have got nothing to play for, they've got the freedom of expression. The pressure's off them. They just want to go out there and do what they do best, which is play football and see what happens. So these teams at this point in the season, when they've got nothing to play for, have either one of 2 mentalities. Either the mentality that Wolves have, which is they're going to chase after, run down and go after everything to try and cause the upset, or they'll already have their holiday on their brain, the flip-flops are already on, and they're just going to turn up and put in 50%, even if that, of their effort, and they end up getting rolled over by teams who have got things to play for. Wolves didn't have that mentality. I'm not expecting Southampton to have that mentality. They won't want Manchester City to go to the South Coast next week and roll them over. They'll take motivation from what Wolves did today. And Wolves played a very good game under new management with Vitor Pereira doing a wonderful job there. They're full of confidence, 6 wins in a row in the Premier League, unbeaten in the last 8 games. Another informed team playing Manchester City, and we've had to beat them. Done it with Crystal Palace, done it with Aston Villa, we've done it with Everton, we've done it with Nottingham Forest, we've done it here as well against Wolves as well. Informed teams at Manchester City are managing to pick up results and pick up wins to aid our progress to try and finish this season as strong as possible and try and scramble a bit of success and get Champions League football for next season and see if we can win the FA Cup as well, which would be absolutely brilliant, which of course City are in the Cup final for. But I don't want to take anything away from Wolves today. They played a very good game of football, and I think if they can have a strong summer, keep hold of the majority of their players. I'm expecting them to lose Cunha, but if they keep hold of near enough everybody else and add a bit of quality, there's no reason why Wolves can't take motivation from their strong finish and maybe even be a surprise package in the Premier League. They played some really good stuff today, no fear. They had the shooting boots on. Not only could have come away with a result from the Etihad, they could have beaten us. Hit the woodwork a couple of times, gone very close with a sliding that probably should have scored. So Wolves had their opportunities. They weren't clinical. Weren't a very good game of football from Manchester City today. Weren't completely on it. A well-taken finish and a really good assist from Jeremy Doku and a well-taken finish from Kevin de Bruyne being the ultimate clinical difference in both sides not being very clinical in what was, for me, a very forgetful game of football, but a game of football that has huge implications, in particular on then Champions League spots, because all the pressure's now on the other teams and we can relax for the next couple of days over Bank Holiday weekend and see how everybody else does get on. So I only have two more talking points really from this game. First one, in terms of Rayan Ait-Nouri, I thought that was a red card. I thought he'd gone over the top of the ball. Yes, his studs were pointing down and it was deemed not a dangerous challenge. Scraping down and a flick of the boot on Bernardo Silva's shin. For me, when your boot goes up high and you're dragging down almost in a stamp motion, you're running the risk. And I'm surprised VAR didn't ask the referee to go and have a look at the monitor. I don't even think the player picked up a yellow card for it. It was a dangerous challenge in my opinion, and I thought that warranted a red card. It's for me as clear as a red card as you're going to see. Over the top of the ball, he had enough time to pull out of the challenge. He didn't pull out of the challenge. He just continued to send his foot into the motion of wanting to basically, this is my area, so I'm going to stand on it, and whatever's in the way is in the way, and they're getting stood on. Was kind of the mentality that had gone in from Ait-Nouri. I'm not saying he had any malice. I don't think there was any malice. He's not meant to hurt Bernardo Silva in that challenge, but it was a nasty looking challenge, and you can slow things down and things can look uglier when you slow things down. But for me, it was a dangerous challenge that warranted a red card, and the fact that he's gone and picked up no card at all, mind-boggling. The only other talking point, Kevin de Bruyne, it's like fine wine. I don't know why Man City haven't sat down and offered him a new contract, even if it was an attempt to try and reduce his wage. It's clear as day that Man City want to try and clear their wage bill and have enough money on their wage bill to bring in the next upcoming prospects, and I think they're using Kevin de Bruyne as their example here, that Manchester City now are looking towards the next generation of players that are going to earn their and work their way up the pay scale, rather than players coming in and automatically slotting as one of the biggest earners, and to free up a bit of space on the wage bill for that, to allow Man City to bring some players in and also allow us to get long-term deals for the likes of Phil Foden and Rodri that they're working on, and also that massive 9.5-year contract that we saw signed in January for Erling Haaland, means there has to be something that gives, and I think Kevin de Bruyne is that player that has to give for that to happen, and Man City deem this season as a good time for de Bruyne to leave. But I'd have sat down, I'd have said, you know, you're on £400,000 a week, are you willing to sign a 1-year extension at £250,000, £300,000 a week? You could offer him 1 year with the option of another year where you take £300,000 a week this year for the next year, and then if you want to sign another year on from that, then it goes down to £200,000 a year, because I'm sure Kevin de Bruyne would consider it. He wants to go to the World Cup with Belgium. It's definitely a player that if you're going to transition your midfield, you want these new midfielders to come in and learn from the very best, and there's no one out there better than to learn from Kevin de Bruyne, and I just felt like Kevin de Bruyne isn't at the end of his career just yet. I still think he's got 1 or 2 years left in him, and Man City are very good at deciding when players need to leave. I just feel like Kevin de Bruyne, like many other players, I always say, are the exception to the rule. The world-class football players who, if they're willing to come down on their wage, would be a great option, because Kevin de Bruyne is the reason we won this game, with scoring that winning goal, and that absentee that we're going to have going into next season is going to be a really big loss. So I think it's really important that if City are going to allow de Bruyne to leave, which is more than likely what is going to happen with what de Bruyne has already announced, then it means that Manchester City have got to turn their focus elsewhere, and we've just got to enjoy the limited time that we've got left with Kevin de Bruyne before he ends up leaving the club. But this is Kevin de Bruyne maybe scoring his last ever goal at Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. He's got one more game left at the Etihad Stadium, so it's his penultimate game for Manchester City. Maybe it's all letting emotion get the better of us and stuff, but I just feel like Kevin de Bruyne is a brilliant player who I think we could have maybe tried to at least attempted to talk with him to get him on a new deal. I hear the stories coming out that he's not even sat down and had the opportunity to speak with Manchester City. City have made that decision for him, and it maybe should have been De Bruyne making that decision, because he's showcasing, as I said, like fine wine. He's still got the quality there, and ultimately the clinical difference today between Manchester City and Wolves, and Manchester City picking up a really big 3 points towards our goal of Champions League football for next season. So on to the next one. Southampton away won't be easy. Our penultimate away game of the season in the Premier League, and still with so much to play for, but we can put our feet up now and keep an eye on how Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea and Newcastle do. Maybe just keep an eye on Arsenal as well. So, they'd be my thoughts. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe as well if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Social media links, they're in the description if you want to go follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all real soon for the next one. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.